Hi, I'm Angela Gonzalez, and I'm here with
Nona Flynn.
and we're going to talk to you about Penn Public Library's grounds. And we have a nice slideshow, and just to give you ideas about what can be done on grounds of libraries. All right. So I put our logo on here and the Yates County logo because we did some of the project together. And here's us two ladies. Okay, this is a little syllabus, a quick syllabus of what we're going to talk about. I'm going to talk about the long story short of the whole grounds rehab at Penn Public Library and give you a little overview of it. And then Noni's going to talk about how we joined with Yates County to create what you see on the left, a charge station and buggy run-in shed combination. And then lastly, I have pictures from other libraries that have really cool things on their grounds. And I just wanted to very quickly tell you about where we're coming from today, where we're talking. We're in the Finger Lakes region, and we are on the top eastern tip of the Y-shaped Lake Keuka. And it's a smaller Finger Lake, but it's a lovely one, as you can see from the photograph at the top there. And that is a picture of Penn at the top of the lake, and that's where our library is located. And the Finger Lakes is known for its wineries, and you can see the lake has many wineries located all around it. We are very, maybe that we aren't as rural as some of you guys, but we're pretty rural. This county has about 25,000 people in it, and 15% of those folks are old order Mennonites, so we see buggies all over when we're out driving. Also, the library's service area is about 15,000 folks. So, and we see Mennonites come in the library every day. And the bottom picture on the right is from the south up. Okay, these sorry photographs are before we had our grounds rehabbed. And the top left photograph is our original buggy parking, and it was a chewed up hitching post. And it was always a mess out there with horse waste. And then the next picture over, you can see they parked other places, and there'd be horse waste around the parking lot. The parking lot was smaller then, so we had a yard in the back. We used that yard to expand the parking lot. And you can see our bike rack at the bottom left there it was pretty sorry. In front of the library, there was no signage for the library when I came into this job 7 years ago. And so when I drove up to Penn Public Library, I couldn't find it because there was no sign. And originally, back in when the library, the Carnegie Library was built at the turn of I think it was 1903, they put the sign facing out towards the road because people went by a lot slower and it wasn't a problem then. So there hadn't been a sign on the pedestal for quite a while. And I'm just going to skip through all the construction because that took a really long time and get to the good stuff. So first, before the construction, of course, we had plans drawn up, and the picture on the right is the front of the library, and the top right-hand corner is the new sign, which would face in such a direction that cars could see it. And the picture on the left is the parking lot, and up on the upper right corner is the new bike rack area, and in the left corner is where we planned to have a buggy run-in shed. Okay, here's the front of the library just last year when we finished installing our lovely gazebo. And the picture on the left is before the gazebo was installed. So you can see the circle-shaped patio area that's great to have outdoor programming on. And the red area is memorial bricks, which I know a lot of libraries like to use. So there's a close-up of the memorial bricks. We have plenty of room for installing more bricks in the future. In the upper right-hand corner, you can see the parking lot's looking a lot better. And down at the bottom, we had to replace our original library ramp to the door, the main door in the back there, because the original ramp was built in 1987, right before the ADA was enacted, so that the slant was wrong, so we had to rebuild it. Okay, here's our custom-made bike rack and also a bike fix-it station. There's little tools hanging down inside of the pole there, and a air pump. So that gets a lot of use because people use it all the time, but also our local Mennonite population ride their bikes. If they don't have a buggy, they ride their bikes. So they use the fix-it station. And the custom bike rack, it's modeled on the custom bike rack at Powell's bookstore in Seattle. You can pull it up, you can Google it. And theirs had actual titles of books on their pretend books, I guess you'd call them. And we just made it sort of like an encyclopedia with the letters. Okay, here's the sign that we installed, both sides. You can see there's an uplight. The sign mirrors the Carnegie building in the back there. That's why it's that shape, that very traditional looking sign there. We had to work with our village historic district commission. That was another reason the sign is very traditional, unlike in the back of the building where we had more choice, so we could put in the bike rack that we want in a more interesting shape. On the left, you can see there's a time capsule under the sign. So we put that in 2017, and that was really fun. And I don't remember what's in it already, and someday somebody will find out. On the right side is just another view of the back ramp there. Here's just a few other highlights of on our grounds. Another sign in the middle there in the back parking lot. A close-up of the steps. Somebody drew chalk drawings on there. And on the upper left-hand corner is one of our little free libraries that we have around town. We have one on our grounds, but it's taken down to be rehabbed at the moment. And I didn't have a photo of it, but it's normally on the grounds. On the right side is a flagpole that was installed by the VFW. So anybody can ask their local VFW if they're willing to do that. I guess they installed them all over the place. So they paid for it and installed it for us. So that was nice. And now I'm gonna send this story over to Noni.
Hi everyone, I'm Nona Flynn and I'm the County Administrator for the library's next door neighbor, Yates County. And our county office building is exactly adjacent to the library. And I'm going to speak on the process of making the agreement between our county government and our neighboring library happen. Back in November of 2018, I began working with our supervisor of buildings and maintenance on obtaining the New York State Clean Energy Community status from NYSERDA, New York State Energy and Research Development Authority. And one of the items for us to qualify for the status of this was to install an electric vehicle charging station somewhere in our county. However, we did not have a great spot for it right in our county parking lot. So we were looking around the county for good places to put this EV charging station. Then in January of 2019, one of our legislators attended a library board meeting and discussed the county constructing a horse shelter for joint use for patrons of the library and the county office building. He came back to the county legislature and presented this and received support for the horse shelter at the library because it would be for a public benefit. And also because the library is a public entity, there were no constitutional impediments to the county making a gift of money, property, or in-kind services to the library. So then in March of 2019, our supervisor of buildings and grounds and I met with Angela at the library about the two prospects, the horse-covered shelter and the electric vehicle charging station in the library's parking lot, which borders the county's parking lot. Angela was an enthusiastic supporter of both of these ideas. I then received the permission from the county legislature to proceed with that. So the next step was for me to meet with the library board to discuss this possible arrangement. And I have to say, after many questions from the library board, the board decided to collaborate with the county on this. So then in June of last year, our county legislature passed a resolution authorizing our chairman to sign a 5-year agreement with the Penn Public Library, permitting the county to place, operate, repair, and maintain one EV charging station in the library parking lot and obligating the county to contribute 1/2 toward the library's purchase of a beautiful horse-covered sheltered parking space and allowing the parking spaces for use by both patrons of the county and the library. So it was a great win-win situation for the county and for the library. And both were installed in the summer of last year. And they've both been used widely by two extremes of our county population, the Mennonites with their horses and buggies, and visitors to the county and residents of the county with their electric vehicles. And I'll hand it back over to Angela.
Yeah, at the end of the program will be my email, and I put it in chat. Any questions you have, go ahead and email them to me, and I will get back to you with any information you're looking for. So here's another shot. That's my car. I park it and I pump it up, and during this stupid COVID time, I haven't had to fill my tank more than 2 or 3 times, and I drive a half-hour each way to get to work, so I love it. Okay, this is just a FYI. The brand of charging station that was installed is called ChargePoint, and they're all over the country. And if you go on the ChargePoint website, you can put your state in their search box, and it will show you the programs, like Noni mentioned, for New York State, for all over the country. Different states have different rebates and promotional programs, so people can install more electric car charging stations. And I just put in a few states: Georgia, Colorado, Pennsylvania. So you can put yours in and find out. Now, the last part of my program, I want to talk about just some inspiration from other small rural libraries in my own library system. Our system is a 5-county system in the southern tier of New York State. It's called Southern Tier Library System. And our library is one of the bigger ones. Most of them are the small 1 and 3 people working in the facility type libraries. So these next images are from around our system. And this first one is from a place called Canisteo, New York, and they really are in the Allegheny Mountains at near the border with Pennsylvania. So this is an interesting one. It's a memorial to somebody. I couldn't see who it was still. And it's an Indian saying in the middle there. And then on the end, on the right end it looks like a green man image, and it says rhetoric, culture, literacy, and I can't see the last one. Imagination. Thank you. Imagination. So there's an example of a sweet, just small, thoughtful memorial. In the top left-hand corner is a bench that was created on site by patrons, and it looks like it's concrete of some sort. And that is in Whitesville, New York, and they are near Alfred University. And Alfred University has a glass engineering program. So they made them fish and some blocks. And I don't know, maybe their patrons made them actually. And they're in the bench there. Below that is just a very simple, regular old patio that you'd see most any place, but that's in Savona, New York. It's installed by an Eagle Scout. Eagle Scouts are great to ask to do projects in your little rural library. And on the right side is from Cuba, New York, and it's a lovely custom statuary in front of their Tudor-style library. This shot is Albany, New York, and they're halfway down the lake. And they built a new library in the last 2 years, and they were sure to put a patio out back, and you can see all the windows across the back of the library because they have a view of the lake. And it's pretty fabulous. So they totally took advantage of it and enjoy it already quite a bit. And it, of course, has been getting a lot of use now that their building hasn't been open for a while. The image on the left is Hammondsport Library, and that's at the bottom of Keuka Lake to the south. And I just included this picture because the gazebo is a memorial, and the little path up to the gazebo is all memorial bricks, and it's full. So those bricks paid for that gazebo, you know. So it's a way to pay for something that you would like to put on your grounds. And then on the right side is in Bath, New York, which is farther south of Hammondsport. And it's a music playground, and they just installed that last year for their 150th anniversary. And when the COVID quarantine ends around here, I'm gonna go down there and try those instruments out. And I'm finishing up now. And I just put a few more fun pictures of our grounds. Right now, we have about 100 painted rocks all out in our gardens because people had time to paint rocks lately. So in the middle lower picture with the bubble machine, we have this year it's canceled, but hopefully again next year, we have a bike rodeo in the parking lot to kick off summer reading programs. And that is very popular and totally fun. At least I think so. And during the COVID quarantine, our front window got decorated by one of our children's librarians. And you can see in the top right-hand corner, last summer, they put a funny message on our signage out there. And the friends are decorating in the picture with the little dog. So, any questions, you could stick in chat, and I'll be here for a little longer.
This is Sue, and there had been a question earlier in the chat asking if you could talk about the bike fix-it, a little bit more about that, and if you've had to have any maintenance for it.
Yes, the bike fix-it, we had to reorder the attachment for the tire pump, It wasn't a good design. The company, I think, sent us a free one because they knew it wasn't a good design. The only issue we've had other than that is some nicks in the paint, but that's to be expected. And then somebody ran into it, and that's why we put that little emergency tape on it. I don't know if that does any good, but it's right at that height where if you're not paying attention, you will walk right into it. So that's the only downfall. I think it's more the placement of ours than the design of it. And you can email me and I will give you the company information because I don't have that. Somebody else in the building has that. So.
And it
comes in every color you could imagine.
Do you see the other question? How much electricity does the charging station use? Do you know that?
I can answer that. It's less than $100 a year, and the county pays for that, but we pay for it we charge a minimal fee for the use of the charging station, and that covers our electricity costs.
There's a few minutes more left, and this has been a really, really interesting presentation. If anybody has any comments or questions, please do put them in the chat.
Yeah, let us know if you have anything interesting on your grounds.
All right, Juicy, what exactly does the bike fix-it station have in it?
Oh, it's got wires. It's got chains that are covered with that plastic stuff, so it's wiry looking, and all these little tools are hanging inside of the metal pole there. And so you can put your bike up on those two things that are sticking out, like that's your, went right past it. That's your jack, your car, your bike jack. You put your bike up there, and then the things hanging out of you can almost see a little bit of stuff hanging out there. And it's right in the pole, so they stay dry, and you can just use the little wrenches and
they're connected to the
chain.
chain.
They're connected to the chain. They're really neat. Also, I've seen other bike repair stations that people have created themselves, just with tools and the metal wire attaching to them. I've seen them attached to fencing and that kind of thing.
Somebody also wants to know what type of programming you do on the renovated patio.
Oh, yeah. So far, we have after school snack and meal programs. We've had barbecues out there. We want to start having kids concerts, but we haven't had a chance. I don't know, maybe next summer. And craft programming, it hoses off really good. And personally, I love drawing chalk drawings out there. We get out the art chalk and really go to town.
And then there was another question wanting to know about the Bike Fix It, if all the materials stay put or if you've had any problems with people removing them or stealing them.
No, the wires really keep them there. It's made to be strong against vandalism.
And somebody just put in chat a link to another Fix It station.
Oh, great. Thank you.
That's great. Well, we're about at the end of our time. I want to thank all the participants. It's been a lot of people here, learned a lot, and thank you to our presenters. You did a terrific job. So this session, along with all the other sessions, will be available online as YouTube videos. So thank you all for coming. And then you can see all the thank yous going into chat.
Thank you. Oh, I know her. It was